Greetings and welcome back to the Osha Cerese Show. I am your host, Osha Cerese, and this is your daily reset of me. Daily reset, daily dose of Osha Cerese. And this is where culture meets. Hello, y'all. I gotta make sure my screen is right. This is where culture meets coaching. This is where healing meets headlines and where we utilize alchemy to transmute gossip into growth. We're not just scrolling and consuming the tea and whatever's trending in the news. We are actually pulling the lessons from them and seeing how we can apply them to our lives. Again, I'm Osha Cerese. I'm a certified life coach, an event curator, and a dream doula helping you to birth your ideas into reality. So happy Wednesday. We got a late night show tonight. Excuse me, y'all. I told y'all I got allergies, so if you see me scratching, blame it on the pollen. It's the itchy and scratchy show because baby, the pollen is pollinating. We are not at spring quite yet, but in Georgia, the flowers are blooming. It is spring already here, almost. But you know what? I'm saying it's spring because of the pollen, but the weather don't know what it want to do. I'm gonna be honest. I grew up in Colorado, always called Denver weather bipolar because you might get 4 seasons in one day. But the thing about Colorado, and it's funny that I'm saying this because the Black History Spotlight person that Black History is Black History all year, but Women's History Month Spotlight is going to be related to what I'm saying right now. But in Colorado, you get 300 sunny days a year. So even though it might rain sometimes, it doesn't rain that much. Um, it's going to snow sometimes, but whenever it snows, the sun is going to come right back out. Either the same day, the next day, no more than 2 days later, you're going to get sunshine. It's going to melt the snow away. You're going to have slushy roads, and you're going to, you're going to see the snow on the side of the roads and the grass, but the sun is going to be out. So you don't really lack your daily dose of vitamin D. Every now and then you'll get a cloudy day. But here in Georgia, I've been out here for 10 and a half years, and I used to nickname it Seattle, Georgia, because it rains a lot. And I recently found out that it rains here in Georgia more than it does in Seattle. So I was on point with the nickname. So today, I told y'all last night when I was on the show that it was windy, and it was, and it did start storming. And y'all know I already told y'all I'm scared of storms. So I was a little nervous. I prayed about it, and thankfully it didn't storm as bad as it could have. Um, I prayed. It started storming right after I finished or right when I made my meal and sat down, and it blew. It blew over. I never know when these fireworks is gonna come on, but it blew over, and I did my yoga. I'm going strong with the yoga, y'all, too. So please congratulate me on that because I've been consistent with my yoga as well. We're back on board, return of the mat. Um, and I guess the wind blew in some cold weather and it was freezing today. I didn't go outside today. I had a chill day inside. So I didn't feel it, but I did get reports from the people who were outside today that it was freezing. But usually when the wind is blowing that hard, it's bringing in some type of severe weather or some type of temperature change. So I kind of expected the cold weather today. But anyway, like I said, spring is coming soon. So us in Georgia, we can just be patient. The warm weather is coming. Now, also rain, because like I said, we live in Seattle, Georgia. It rains a lot here, and it rains in all the seasons. It's not just like, oh, April showers bring May flowers. No, it rains winter, spring, summer, fall. And sometimes it seems like it's raining for 40 days and 40 nights. Like, just let me get off my soapbox about the weather. Anyway, welcome to episode 31. We going strong. I'm excited. This is the drink of the night. This is Powerade, y'all. I'm gonna get back to my healthy drinks soon. I've never tasted this flavor, so you're gonna get my real reaction to this. But this is watermelon lime sour. I don't know what it's gonna taste like, but cheers to great health, great weather, happiness, joy, love, success, abundance, bliss, joy, freedom, and meaningful connections. Cheers. It is a little sour, but it is thirst quenching. I had to gulp that down. It's not bad. I like it. I like watermelon lime combos. So, like I said, it's Women's History Month, and we Black History all year long. But today's Black, I'm gonna keep mixing it up. Today's Women's History Month spotlight. I wanted to spotlight someone who's, we're not just spotlighting the back in the day women, in history. We're highlighting and spotlighting the women of now as well, the women of today. And someone who I absolutely admire. I love their work. I love what they're doing. I love their creative expression. I'm a fan. Excuse me. Allergies also come with runny noses. But the women history spotlight of the day is my girl, Issa Rae, my friend in my head, Issa Rae. I think because Issa Rae is so relatable to a lot of us, millennial women, millennial Black women, and especially the ones that are a little awkward. Sometimes I feel like I'm watching myself play out on TV. But let me just get into some of her history. Let's roll it back to my notes here. Issa Rae. Okay, I want to make sure I had the right notes. So her birth name is Jo Issa Rae Diop, or Diop. I don't know how to pronounce it, y'all. She is a Capricorn queen, as are some of the closest ladies in my life are Capricorns as well. She was born January 12, 1985 in Los Angeles, California. She is one of 5 children born to Delno Diop, or Diop. Let's say Diop. Her mother is a teacher, and her father, Abdoulaye Diop. He's a pediatrician from Senegal. And it recently went viral, her talking about how her dad was trying to open up start his own hospital. I want to say, I don't know if he was trying to do it here or in Senegal. I think it was in Senegal. And she said he got scammed and all his money got taken. But he was an active pediatrician in Los Angeles. And there was a young lady that shared her story and how he was her pediatrician and how he, I don't know if she framed it saved her life, but basically she had really bad childhood asthma, and whatever it is that he did helped her to grow out of it. So that was Issa Rae's father. She spent part of her childhood in Dakar, Senegal, before returning to the United States. And Issa Rae attended Stanford University, where she earned a Bachelor of Art in African and African American Studies. While at Stanford, Issa Rae created and directed music videos and plays, honing her storytelling skills, and she also took classes at the New York Film Academy. So in 2011, she launched the YouTube web series The Misadventures of Awkward Black Girl, portraying the comedic experiences of a young Black woman navigating social situations. The series gained a substantial following and led to a successful Kickstarter campaign to fund its continuation. I didn't get on the Issa Rae train back then. I hadn't heard about it in 2011. But when I did find out about it, based on her other major project that we're getting ready to talk about, I went back and watched it and loved it, and I thought it was amazing. I was really inspired right after I watched that. My creative juices started flowing, and I wrote a part of a web series myself. I never did it, but I'm coming back for that web series. I'm going to do a web series, and that's going to be, that's one of my creative goals. But in 2011, she launched that, and in 2015, she published her memoir, The Misadventures of Awkward Black Girl, which became a New York Times bestseller. I haven't read it yet. I've read some clips of it, some pieces of it, but I want to read her book. It offers a deeper insight into her personal experiences and perspectives on race, gender, and Hollywood. Now, one of my favorites, not probably, the favorite project of Issa Rae of mine is Insecure. She co-created it, co-wrote it, and starred in the HBO television series Insecure, which aired from 2016 to 2021. The show received critical acclaim for its authentic portrayal of contemporary Black women's experiences and earned multiple Golden Globe and Primetime Emmy nominations. Now, let me just tell y'all about Insecure. If you are a millennial and you haven't watched Insecure, please go watch it, because I think we are the best generation to really appreciate Insecure. Now, not saying that it can't be appreciated by Gen X, by even boomers, Gen Z, or whoever. But if you're a millennial, specifically a Black millennial, and you haven't watched Insecure, please do yourself you're doing yourself a disservice by not watching it, in my opinion. I think it's beautifully written. I think that the cinematography is amazing. The storytelling is amazing. It's so relatable. And I definitely recommend any age group coming after millennials, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, whenever you are in your late 20s. I think it's the perfect time to watch this. The reason why Insecure is so near and dear to me, as I was watching Insecure, I was literally like the same age that Issa was in the show. So when she turned 30, I was turning 30 that year. And when I tell you, like, it was just so relatable. The things that she was going through, it was matching up to my life. Even down to the fact that she left her career at 30, when she turned 30. And I don't know if I've shared this on this show. I'm pretty sure I have. But I know y'all know I was a nurse for over 10 years or 10 years. And people don't really understand why. But I decided to leave my career as a nurse in 2019, the year I turned 30. No, I turned 30, and actually I turned 30 in 2018. I was still 30 when I left. So I turned 30 July of 2018. I left my career February of 2019. And everything that Issa experienced before and after that journey, it was just like so aligned, even down to the like things that she went through with her like her friendships, men, all of these type of things, like so relatable. But to be able to see real things that you go through in life played out by a character that kind of reminds you of yourself as well, it hits different. And I'm gonna just say this about all the shows that are really, I've talked about this, I think, really on my reviews of Harlem. If you go to my YouTube channel, which I didn't tell y'all need to subscribe to my channel, because this is where this show lives, as well as all my other content for reviews, vlogs, travel vlogs, day in the life, podcast episodes. Everything is on my YouTube channel. So please subscribe and turn your notifications on. But I reviewed the show Harlem. Harlem is about 4 Black millennial women, as is Insecure. And when you go back and watch shows like Girlfriends in your 30s, it hits different. When you go back and watch Living Single in your 30s, it hits different, because these ladies were being portrayed as their late 20s, early 30s, mid 30s, navigating career, life, relationships, friendships, sisterhood, even having friends of the opposite sex and how that plays out. Like, these are chef kiss classic shows that you need to watch. But Insecure, I could talk about Insecure all day. I love Insecure. I think it's amazing. I literally binge watch the series every year. It's my tradition, usually around the end of the year when things are slowed down, when I'm in my hibernation season between November and February. But usually around November, December is when I'll binge watch it again. And every time I see something new, I pick up something different. I can relate to something new. And each and every time when that series finale comes on, I cry. I don't care how many times I've seen it. I don't care how I already know that it's how it's going to end and that it's the last episode. I cry every time. And it's just a masterpiece. I just love Insecure. These drinks are not something you can sip. I'm sorry, y'all, if y'all hear me gulping. But Issa Rae has also been in film. 2018, The Hate You Give. 2019, Little. The Photograph in 2020. The Lovebirds 2020. Vengeance 2022. Barbie 2023. American Fiction in 2023. And she also voiced Jessica Drew and Spider-Woman in Jessica Drew / Spider-Woman in Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse in 2023, and is set to reprise the role in the upcoming sequel. I believe I've seen all of the movies that she's been in except for Vengeance and American Fiction. The Hate You Give, I've only seen once, but I know it was definitely amazing. I need to rewatch it. Little was great, funny, cute. It had some moments in there, but I think it's family friendly enough. The Photograph, I told y'all how I felt about that. You can go back to one of the earlier episodes when I talked about, I think it was episode 5. Go back to episode 5 and I'll tell you about how The Photograph contributed to the fact of why I am abstinent to this day. And I think I may have seen The Lovebirds. I can see the film in my head. The Barbie, I recently watched that. And you know what? I think I need to do an episode talking about Barbie and what I felt about it as well. And then, of course, beyond acting and writing, Issa Rae founded Hooray Media. It's a production company focused on amplifying diverse voices. She has also ventured into the hospitality industry. I heard she buying up all the businesses in LA. She's owns a lot of businesses and restaurants out there. She's creating a vibe. She's setting herself up to have that generational wealth. And she's launched a vegan hair care line. She also has recently introduced Via Ray wines. I know she loves her Prosecco, and she continues to engage with audience through events like An Evening with Issa Rae. And I believe she recently canceled a sold out event that she was going to have at, let me not get to lying. Let me type in a fact check because I can't remember. The Kennedy Center, that's what it was. So she recently canceled her sold out show at the Kennedy Center for the performing arts, citing an infringement of values because the venue now has, hold on, let me just read it verbatim. It says, actress Issa Rae has canceled a sold-out show at the Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts, citing an infringement of values. This is on CBSNews.com. At the venue after President Trump fired board members and installed himself as chairman. She said that she was not going to host her An Evening with Issa Rae event that was scheduled in D.C. at the venue for March 16th. So I'm not sure if she has decided to reschedule or find another place yet, but it didn't align with her values. So she said, I'm sorry, y'all. It's sold out, but we're going to have to cancel it because this doesn't align. And that kind of goes back to what I talked about yesterday when the lady went on the date with the guy that wanted her to spend the night with him at his hotel room, and how she went on ahead and went on the date anyway, knowing that she had already told him that she wasn't interested in that, and knowing that she felt like that was what he, what type of time he was on, and he tried to deny it. And she said, I still feel like that's what the energy you're on. And I said, sometimes, even if it's inconvenient, even if it's scary, you have a little anxiety around setting your boundaries or whatever. Sometimes you have to decide to redirect based on something not aligning with your values. And that's exactly what Issa Rae did. Because some people might say, girl, you got a sold out show. Forget what Trump talking about. Come show up for the people that are here to support you. But she stood on business. So we can learn a lot from that. Okay. And then Issa Rae also married her longtime partner, Louis Diam. Diam sounds better. He's a Senegalese businessman, and they got married in a private ceremony in France. I remember when she posted her wedding photo and she kind of made a joke so that people really weren't sure if it was real or not. It was real. July 2021, she got married. So, shout out to you, Issa Rae. We love you. I know I do. I appreciate your work, your artistry, the way you are creating other opportunities for other creatives. And I'm looking forward to seeing what else comes about. And on this, also didn't reflect that she also had the show Rap Shit. Forgot that in my notes. Love that show as well. And she had the sketch comedy show with all women. So I didn't catch all of the episodes of that. I didn't really catch a full episode of that. I have to go back and check it out. But the clips that I saw were funny. But Rap Shit, I felt had so much potential, had a great storyline, the character development. We were waiting to see what was going to happen next, and they canceled it after 2 seasons, which I thought was very unfortunate. They made it through the writers' strike and the acting strike, and it wasn't really heavily promoted for the second season because they were coming right up out of those strikes. So I don't know if that really had a lot to do with it, but I thought that was a great show. And I don't know if she has plans to try to get it picked up on another network, or if it's just something that we'll never know the ending to, or maybe one day we'll get a Rap Shit movie. I don't know. But I would love to see what happened to the ladies and on their journey and their story. And these are the stories that need to be told and need to, I don't understand why when we get good shows, black shows, that we're not able to get the full story of their journey. So shout out to Issa Rae. She's our Women's History Month spotlight of the evening. So let's get into these topics. Whew, child. Let's get into these topics. So, I saw a post on Threads. And let me read it. So, this man put up a post. I don't know where he put it, but it ended up on my Threads feed. I don't know what platform he initially wrote it. But he says, when men begin to settle down with a woman, we reflect on past relationships and how it would have been if we made the choice earlier in life. So, ladies, when that engaged or happy relationship man reaches out, he's just reflecting on life. He doesn't want you. So, before I get into my opinion, let me read some of the comments. A man said, I have never done this, but have also never wrecked a relationship. So, another guy said, I hate when ninjas speak for ninjas. This woman said, my ex called me the night before his wedding saying sorry, and I wish this was you. Man, men scare me, child. And why the hell reach out? This is dumb. A man said, only relationship I wrecked was in the 6th grade, so I can't say I can understand what he's saying. Another guy said, if you're thinking this, then you're marrying the wrong person and not ready for marriage. Be respectful of other people's time. A lady said, I think I'll be a lesbian before this year is over with. Another lady said, and if any women did this with the same logic, he would end the relationship. So most men are saying that that's not what they do. But interesting enough, a lot of the women are sharing stories about how this has happened to them. And so, I always got a story. I've experienced this as well, either not often before they settled all the way down or right before they're getting married, but sometimes after. Like they'll, may DM me like, "Hey, how you doing?" or whatever. "Hey, like, why are you in my DMs? You got a wife?" "Yeah, you know, it could have been you or just had a baby. I wanted to have a baby with you. Like, what am I supposed to do with that information? Am I supposed to be flattered? Am I supposed to try to find a way to reel back the hands of time to make it happen?" It didn't happen. Like, what are we talking about here? So I don't know what sparks somebody to do that, but the fact that he's saying they reflect on the past relationships and how it could have been if they made the choice earlier in life. Tell your journal. Write about it in your journal or talk to your therapist or just let it be a thought that's passing. Excuse my stomach from growling. I'm about to eat after this. But, I don't know if you've ever practiced meditation, but when you practice meditation, you are sitting there and people think that you're just supposed to have no thoughts, clear mind. And some people are able to achieve that with time and with practice because meditation is a practice. But before you get to that point, when you're sitting in meditation and you close your eyes and you're focusing on your breath, you're breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth, right? When those thoughts come up, as they usually do, any meditation coach, any guide, anybody who has practiced meditation is going to tell you, allow those thoughts to pass like clouds. Like, you can acknowledge that they're there. I hear you, I feel you, I acknowledge you. And then just let it float on by and refocus on your breath. So that is my recommendation to guys who are reflecting on their past woulda, coulda, shouldas when they are currently in a new relationship. If it comes up, if it's a thought that comes up, maybe it's just a distraction, who knows? Acknowledge it and just let it float on by. If it's something that keeps coming up, maybe it's because you're not, like the guy said, maybe you're not quite sure if that's the relationship for you. Maybe you're having second thoughts and you really still have feelings for this past person. Do some, are these real feelings? Or if this is this a response of me getting nervous because I'm settling down with this person? Explanation, I owe her an apology. Is it appropriate for me to reach out and give her that? But all that reaching out, talking about, it should have been you, I wish it was you. What are you doing then? Why are you in the relationship that you're in if you wish it was someone else? That don't make sense to me. So in my notes, I have a few reasons why men may do this, but y'all tell me, I'm not a man. So it could be nostalgia and regret, like I just said, just looking back on what could have been. And again, being able to unpack that, sit with the thought. If it's not something that you can acknowledge and allow it to float on by like a thought during meditation, then journal about it. Write in your journal and find out, or write down, what is it about this relationship that I miss? What is it about this relationship? What did I learn from the relationship? What do I regret? How would I do things different? How can I apply the lessons that I learned to this new relationship that I'm in? If I could talk to this person, what would I say? And maybe instead of reaching out, because maybe that's not appropriate to do, maybe just write a letter to her in your journal, and or take a piece of paper and write a letter and then burn it, rip it up, release it, free yourself of it. Really think about, does it even have anything to do with that person, or is it just you being unsure of the relationship that you're currently in? So ask yourself, Is this the relationship that I really can see myself in long term? Am I making the right decision? Do the inner work to find out if it's just something within you that has nothing to do with that ex, because maybe it doesn't. It could be emotional immaturity, because some men don't process their past properly before moving on. So again, the same thing. You got to do the work, and that's why I always suggest to y'all to do the work in between relationships, because a lot of people go from relationship to relationship without unpacking, healing, thinking, "Oh, I'm good," I'm hurt, I miss her, whatever. Get over her by getting under her or him. Just like women, men, you can also get this journal, How to Beat Single. Now, there are some parts in it that are designed specifically for women, such as charting your cycle. And, there's some other things in here that might be specific to women. But for the most part, this is for anybody that wants to. I have several men who have purchased this book, who have become my client, and I recommended the journal, and it's helped them to unpack and to get some of those things out. Definitely recommend it. You can find it on my website, oshacerese.com. And then, of course, ego, an ego boost to reach out to see if you still have access. And we talked about Mario last week about his interview on Lovers by Shan, and how he gets a thrill out of seeing, once a woman has regained her confidence and strength to leave him alone for whatever reason, seeing his power and ability to reel her back in. So it might not be the same situation in this case, where you have your new girlfriend or your fiance or whoever this person is, you've married, and you're reaching back out. It may be something like, oh, remember when Aisha Curry made a post saying that she kind of still desires male attention outside of her husband. She didn't necessarily, I didn't take it that she wanted to be pursued by another man, or that she wishes she had another man. I think it was more so like, she's been married, she's been with her husband Steph Curry since she was a young girl. She just wants to know that she still got it. So in the cases when men are reaching out, it could just be simple as, I just want to know if I'm still desirable, or it could be like, I wonder, does she still want me? And if I wanted to creep that way, could I still do it? Let me test the waters. So, so basically, you just got to be careful. You got to recognize when someone is seeking closure, or if they're seeking validation. And you don't always owe anybody closure, because sometimes the person that's reaching out really don't even deserve access to you at all, including communication, being able to DM you, text you, or anything based on how they treated you when they did have you. So you don't owe them closure. You don't owe them a conversation. You don't owe them validation. You don't owe them anything. But if it's somebody that is reaching out that maybe you get along with, or you all remain friends, or you don't have no beef, just be careful and be aware of what their intentions are. And you don't want to get caught up in nobody's DMs with nobody's man for something that you ain't got nothing to do with. That's just bringing drama to directly to your inbox, or your phone, or your front porch. So nip it in the bud. Either don't respond, don't give it any energy, or just redirect him back to his wife or his woman. Again, you don't have to respond. And again, if you're still healing from that relationship, it may be triggering for you to even hear back from him and hear something like, it's supposed to be you. So just know what you can handle. And I wanted to bring up one of the reasons why everybody's not into this, but do your own research. Some of the reasons why you see an influx of exes reaching out are retrogrades. So right now we're currently in a Venus retrograde. A lot of people hear about Mercury retrograde, which I'll talk about too. But the Venus retrograde is what we're going through right now. I think we got 2 more retrogrades coming up next week, Mercury and Mars, possibly. But Venus rules love, relationships, beauty, and values. So when Venus is in retrograde, it brings unresolved romantic issues to the surface. So that could be within a relationship that you're in. And it's also when exes tend to reach out, reminisce, and reappear. So it might be him reaching out because he thinks it could have been you, or it might just be the damn retrograde. And then Mercury retrograde, it's communication issues. It affects communication technology and transportation as well, and misunderstandings. So it can cause old conversations, unfinished business, or miscommunication in relationships. People might feel the urge to reconnect, apologize, or rekindle things they never got closure on. So during them retrogrades, you'll see people popping out the woodwork. So beware. And according to my notes that I looked up, should you entertain an ex during retrograde? It says be mindful. Consider, is this real, or is this just the energy of the retrograde? So I think those are great questions to consider. If they haven't grown or changed, don't let the nostalgia fool you or trick you, and use this time to reflect rather than rekindle. So it's not really the best idea to start anything new during retrograde. You have to be really careful about starting new relationships, about signing new contracts. Be careful about what you sign. Another thing I saw today too is Venus retrograde increased venereal diseases, or STDs or STIs. So be careful out there with your goodies as well. Get tested, know your status, all that good stuff. Message. Have you ever been reached out to by an ex, or have you ever been the one reaching out? Y'all let me know. So the main topic that I wanted to discuss, I want to go ahead and play the video first, and then we'll talk about it. I think I got flagged for playing that Eartha Kitt video yesterday, so I gotta be careful about what I play on here. But let's see. Okay, so Gabrielle Union was recently interviewed, and this is what she said.
50-50 or bust, right? And I meant that financially, spiritually, emotionally. And there's just a lot of days that I have 10% and I need him to be 90. There's days I don't have, and I need him to be 100. It's a trauma response. And 50-50 is, I'm not going to be vulnerable enough to trust you with 100% of anything. Not my heart, not my cash. And when I started to really address that, and I was like, do you want to pay whole mortgage? I thought I was about to die. I had such anxiety. Like, I was crying, I was shaking. And he was like, you insisted on that. He's like, I thought it made you feel better. I'm like, it did. And right now I want to take it back. Now it sounds crazy to be like, you, Mr. NBA superstar who made a bazillion more amount of money than I do, can pay the mortgage, because I hate the feeling of releasing that to someone. And you release that to someone, chaos can happen. And it's brought us closer, because he knows it's not about whether he can afford it. It's being vulnerable enough, enough to be open enough to know that I'm okay. I'm okay as his wife. He's okay as my husband. I'm okay in this family. I'm okay in this home. I deserve it. And so I'm trying to expand my heart, expand all of the notions of what vulnerability can look like. As you heal, as you evolve, as you lean more into vulnerability, you can also change how you feel about something, and it's okay. Sometimes when we build those walls up for safety or to keep what we think is harm out, we can also keep love out too. Enough. I struggle with that still.
So that was her recent interview, and this is what she said in the past about 50-50.
Enough. I struggle with that still, just because I think I just have more responsibilities, for my money. So I get nervous, like, oh God, that movie didn't open, well, what does that mean? Am I going to have enough to hold everybody up? And everyone's like, it's coming, like, calm down. And I'm trying to find peace in the journey, not using my anxiety and scarcity mindset to be my engine, which is hard. It's weird to say I'm head of household because in this household, we split everything 50-50. But in the other households that each of us have to support, it puts this, there's always this like gorilla on your back that is like, you better work, you better work, you better work. Oh, you gonna sleep in? You know, somebody might not eat.
So in the past, Gabrielle Union mentioned how she preferred it to be 50-50 within her marriage and 50-50 with everything, 50-50 with finances, 50-50 with, you know, all the responsibilities within their household and within their marriage. But then she mentions how she's taking care of other households, which I'm sure include maybe her parents or mother. I don't know if she has both of her parents, other family members, extended family members, and then also Dwayne Wade, her husband, also has other households and things that he takes care of. Now, Dwayne Wade is an NBA player. Is he former NBA player? Y'all know I don't know nothing about sports. Let's just look this up. And this ain't none of my business, but just to have more of an understanding. I just want to look at both of their net worth. And again, it ain't none of our business, but just to understand where they were when she says he makes so much more than her. And you know these Googleable net worths are not always accurate. They're usually below. So it says Dwayne Wade's net worth in 2025 is 170 million. And Gabrielle Union's net worth is around 40 million. So they both rich. Let's just be real. He is a former NBA player. She is an actress. And I know I've heard about that NBA money. I heard that they get that money whether they play or not when they're in like during the season. I think they have less injuries than NFL players, so they have more stability in the NBA. So if he gross 100 or net have whichever one, his net worth is 170 million. He's retired. He's good. Hers is 40 million. She's an actress. Of course, the roles come and go. You never know whether or not you're going to get a role, how much it's going to pay, and there's not really anything that's going to keep you stable if you're not managing your money correctly. That's why they say struggling artists, struggling actors. There are people that are in movies and TV, film that aren't financially successful because they're depending on role to role. It's like check to check. So she has a lot of money too. She's a successful actress. She's been acting forever. But she said with her scarcity mindset, due to how she was raised, she just feels like she has that, I think she called it gorilla on her back of pressure to constantly work to make sure that she's able to maintain all of her responsibilities of taking care of her family and making sure that she is stable. And so she's recently shifted her mindset to allow herself to receive and let her man handle the mortgage. And you would think that it would be something simple. Most women, you think, oh, she's a woman. She wants her man to pay the bills, pay the rent, especially if he's rich. But for her, it wasn't comfortable. It wasn't something that was normal to her. And she basically used the term trauma response. So I wanted to talk about a few of the trauma responses that sometimes we experience as women. Everybody, men and women, experience trauma that comes from childhood, that comes from upbringing, that comes from where you grew up, how you were educated, whether or not you were grew up in poverty, past relationships, things that you go through in life, all type of ways that you can go through some type of trauma. But then there's a trauma response. Like, how do you respond to that? How does it show up when it's unhealed? So with her, basically she was having the trauma response of hyper independence. So that could be fear of relying on others because of past disappointments. Maybe as a child, she was relying on people, or she did depend on somebody and they didn't show up for her. So that created a trauma response of, I'm not going to experience disappointment like this ever again. I'm just going to get it myself. Belief that being self sufficient means safety. So, of course, when you think of the, what is it, Glasgow's hierarchy of needs, and even when it comes to your root chakra, which is your base chakra, your um, the root chakra governs stability and safety. These are things that in the hierarchy of needs, safety, all of that is one of the main, most important needs that we have as humans. So, of course, being self sufficient is a part of feeling safe and feeling stability. But sometimes we can rely on other people. But if you feel like you're always needing to be the one that handles it all, that could be a trauma response. And then also struggle to accept help or emotional support. Now, I always have a story time. I never considered myself to be one of these women that label themselves an independent woman. Like, I don't want to be independent. If I'm in a relationship with you, like my mom says, I want to be interdependent. We lean in on each other. We can support one another. We have each other's back. And I want to be able to fully lean on you if I can. And then, and I want to be able to depend on you. That's one of my favorite songs by Xavier Omar. It's called Deep End. And in the song, he says, "Girl, you can depend on me in the deep end. I won't let you down. I won't let us drown." I think those are some of the most beautiful words. Like a man to tell you that you can depend on him. And then it's just poetic and so eloquently phrased that he's comparing it to not letting you drown in the deep end. Like, go listen to the song. But I never considered myself to be a Miss Independent or whatever. I think that a lot of times, especially in today's society, and as we are a growing community of single people, and then we're adulting, some of the things that we have to do, we don't have a damn choice. So it's not that we're trying to be independent, it's that you trying to keep a roof over your head. You have bills, you have rent, mortgage, responsibilities, things that you have to do in order to stay afloat, in order to be stable. Especially if you're single, if you don't have a village of people that can help you. Everybody in the village got their own shit that they trying to take care of. So you just automatically, by default, fall into this um, independent space. But I definitely never thought that I was hyper independent. It wasn't until I was dating this guy a couple of years ago. And it was an interesting time of dating. He was like a year and a half younger than me, and I've talked about him before on this page. Let me shout out the word here on YouTube says survival, the root chakra governs. Absolutely. I love the fact that you use self-efficient versus independent. I use that concept to replace the independent mindset. Facts. So this was an interesting time of me dating this guy because y'all know I'm a life coach, right? And I usually find myself damn near giving sessions to people just by default within conversation. Next thing you know, people are sharing with me because I got to toot my own horn. I have the type of energy that makes people feel safe and makes people um, vulnerable with me. And they tell me things that they've been through, gone through. And sometimes they unpack things that they didn't even expect to unpack because certain questions that I may ask, it's not an interrogation or me trying to be their counselor or their coach, but it just naturally happens. So I'm usually used to being that person. The guy that I was dating was a therapist. So it was almost like we were giving each other sessions. And I actually enjoyed the time that we had together because I like to like deep conversations is so up my alley. That's intimacy to me. And he was a great listener and we had good conversations as well. And it's not often that I meet people that hold space for me, and not that I want somebody to hold space to trauma dump, but I like to yap. And he appreciated the fact that I talked a lot. He actually thought that it was very, like, I was very feminine, and almost like my childlike energy came out with how excited I was about the things that I talked about. So we like that about each other. But anyway, something, I don't remember the context of what was going on, but he just casually called me hyper independent in conversation. And I was like, I don't think I'm hyper independent. But then when I reflected on it, I'm like, damn, maybe I am. But not by choice. And I guess it came back to those type of things, like fear of relying on people because of past disappointments. And it's just like, well, you know, having that mindset of, which is really a pessimistic type of mindset of, people don't show up for me, people don't support me, people don't root for me, people don't have my back, they don't, whatever the agreement that I made or the narrative that I had playing in my head. And also, I've never been that great with asking for help. And I'm still working on that, actually. My mom is great at that. She's great at utilizing her feminine energy and asking for help. Not so much of like, can somebody help me pay my rent type ask or request, but just like certain things, like when we're out and about, we go to the grocery store or something. Instead of her racking her brain trying to find something or whatever, she's like, "Excuse me, sir." Goes to an employee, "Can you help me find such and such?" Um, and so things like that, I've tried to be better with, like, if I got a basket full of groceries and I'm offered by an employee, "Do you want me to walk you to your car and pack your groceries up for you?" Sure. It feels a little strange to me because I know I'm able to do it, but maybe I don't want to do it today. Absolutely. Thank you. The word says, I tell my wife all the time, like, I get paid for this. Yep. So it's just like, it's a natural thing as a coach. I don't know. I think that's why we've found ourselves in this position, because before I was a coach, I was a coach. I was a therapist, a counselor, and all those things. And so I didn't want to have to go back to school. I went to nursing school. I was kind of done with school. I'm like, how can I use this natural gift that I have? And then there were several signs that pointed me in the direction of life coaching, but it's a natural gift. But dating somebody that was a therapist was very interesting, because we definitely, we both were good listeners and we both helped each other. Because relationships, dating someone, that's pretty much a mirror. Any relationship, it doesn't just have to be romantic. Everybody that you come into contact with, they're reflecting back something to you. And it was very refreshing to have somebody that could see certain things or acknowledge, point out certain things that I may not have seen within myself, and allow me the opportunity, like my friend Yusuf shared with me, the sacred opportunity to reflect and address certain things that I didn't even see within myself. Um, I helped him to unpack some things with his mother wound. So um, definitely, I appreciated that time that I dated that guy. I think we dated for probably like 2 months, but we had a good time. Shout out to you. So some of the other trauma responses that can show up in relationships: people pleasing. Y'all know I talk about people pleasing all the time. Um, Y'all know I got the Power of No coming soon. That is going to be a 6-week program to help you to really lean into your healthy boundary setting, being able to say no guilt free, and to let go of the people pleasing. But people pleasing usually comes from a fear of abandonment, and it leads to accommodating. So I'm a recovering people pleaser. And as anybody in recovery, sometimes, you relapse a little bit. So, um, but definitely, once you have the tools to be able to set healthy boundaries, to communicate clearly on your needs, to be able to recognize when something doesn't align with your values, recognize when something makes you feel uncomfortable, and be able to have the ability to speak about it, it definitely helps. And it really helps to identify the root of the people pleasing. Like I said, fear of abandonment. I don't know, I've been through a lot, so let's just say that. But I know in my past, I used to always say, with my ex husband, I would really get upset when we argued, and I would just be like, "You're all I have," and I'm thinking, "No, the hell he wasn't." Back then, I don't know if it was him that convinced me or if I convinced myself, but I had plenty of people that loved me. But for some reason, when I was in that relationship, because there were a lot of factors that contributed to that mindset, I'm not going to sit up here and lie and act like I don't know. But to think when I was in that situation, to think that, oh my God, you're all that I have. So a lot of people pleasing, a lot of doing things that weren't what I really wanted to do or weren't in alignment with how I saw my life going, because I didn't want to lose him. Or I felt like, I always felt like, I also told myself this was my agreement in my head as well. I don't want to be thrown away. And I felt like if people got upset with me or didn't like something that I did or didn't agree with me, that they would throw me away. So that people pleasing went on throughout high school, throughout most of my 20s, um, feeling like I would get thrown away, or feeling like the relationship would change, the dynamics of the friendship would change. So there was people pleasing, and then there was also um, just, yeah, just the fear of losing people and thinking that if I didn't do the things that they wanted me to do, that they wouldn't love me anymore, or they would not be in my life. And then I had to realize, well, first of all, if I'm doing something that makes me uncomfortable or that doesn't align with my values, and this person doesn't want to fuck with me no more because of it, bye. Like, what the hell am I worried about them throwing me away for? But secondly, if they truly do love me and, value me in their life, then saying no is not going to cause them to throw me away, even if they get mad at me temporarily. And so that is some of the realizations that I want to offer those of you who are still people pleasers. Most of the time, it's just in your head. These people are not going to abandon you if they truly love you and they're in your circle, and they have the right intentions. They're not going to abandon you. So whatever has happened in the past, if you've been abandoned before, or if you've experienced some type of shift in a relationship that meant a lot to you because you didn't do what they wanted you to do, that just wasn't for you. The word says, I actually lost majority. Oh, I actually lost majority of my sight, which made me switch professions. Had to find something I can do at home. Yeah. Yeah. I was a nurse before I was a life coach, but I had some time in between leaving my career as a nurse and becoming a life coach. I left my career as a nurse in 2019. I got certified as a life coach in 2021. So when I left my career, the goal was to just really focus on the businesses that I had already started, like my youth enrichment programs. Damn Near Vegan is one of my brands, where I was doing vegan pop-ups and cooking show. I got another YouTube channel called Damn Near Vegan that I've neglected, but I'll be back. So I had different ideas that were all over the place, and I had to hone into something. So yes. Avoidance is another trauma response that can come up in relationships, which can be caused a trauma response of difficulty expressing emotions and shutting down in conflict. So that could be a trauma response of some type of abuse that you've experienced in your past. And it could also be a blocked throat chakra if you're having difficulty expressing your emotions, speaking your truth, um, expressing yourself effectively. Or it could be something that you need to really just increase your emotional intelligence by reading more, expanding your vocabulary. Maybe you truly don't have the words to express how you feel. Utilizing an emotional wheel helps sometimes to identify how do you really feel, because outside of mad, sad, happy, what is some other basic, things that you can say, angry, um, there are so many different emotions that you may be feeling that aren't just within your vocabulary, they're just not in your vocabulary. Let's look up the emotional wheel. I have it in my phone, but I'm gonna just get it right here on the laptop. So Lordy. Auntie can't see these little words. Hold up. Maybe I do need to look it up on my phone. Oh, Lordy. I never needed glasses as a child. My eyesight went away. And I still don't wear glasses just to see. I wear glasses at night to drive. But my vision looking at these little bitty words. Okay. So, like I said, those basic emotions that are like right around the immediate wheel that we usually go to when we're trying to express how we feel are happy, trust, fear, surprise, sad, disgust, angry, anticipation. I really don't hear people say anticipation as much, but mm. So happy, outside of happy, are words like optimistic, confident, strong, joyful, aroused, loving, and then even further, powerful, inspired, proud, self assured, courageous, powerful, ecstatic. They put powerful twice. Ecstatic, delighted, amorous. I don't even know what the hell that means. Playful, embracing, and generous. So maybe you're not just happy, maybe you feel self assured and you just, whew, I feel so self assured. I feel like I'm just hurt. Trust can also be grateful, peaceful, accepted, hopeful, or outside of that could be blessed, feeling admiration, calm, content, valued, respected, longing, acceptant, expectant. I love to feel valued. And I actually put on my Instagram note today, valuable, because I was feeling like I wanted to validate myself as valuable. I know my own value. And I was feeling like I wasn't being valued by someone else. And then I'm just like, that doesn't matter. I am valuable because I feel valued. Fear, cautious, weak, scared, anxious, nervous, worried, or are you feeling timid, apprehensive, insecure, vulnerable, frightened, terrified, dread, panicky, threatened, uneasy, edgy, distressed? So, expanding your vocabulary and being able to really pinpoint how you're feeling to be able to express that a little better. And since I have my handy chakra book right here, I've been working with one of my clients on the root chakra these past couple weeks. This is my first book of chakras. It's called The Book of Chakras: Discover the Hidden Forces Within You by Ambika Waters. Let's see what they say about the throat chakra. So you know the throat chakra is here. It's governed by the color blue. The qualities. Let me just read this. The location, internal and external throat. Usually the age of residence, 35 to 42. I'm within that range. I'm 36. The shape is an inverted pyramid suspended around the jaw and pointing downward towards the heart. The glandular connection is the thyroid and parathyroid glands. The color is turquoise or blue. Musical note G, type of music, opera. So maybe put some little opera on in the background, or maybe try to sing some of it. Clear that throat. The element, the ethers, in which all things are connected. The aspect of intelligence are will and expression. Sensory experience is hearing. Some of the essential oils, blue chamomile, gardenia, and lang lang. I love lang lang and I love gardenia. Gardenia is like probably my favorite scent of flowers. My favorite flower is orchid, but gardenia is my favorite scent, floral scent. Aspects of the planetary system: Mercury, astrological associations, Gemini, Virgo. Metal is Mercury. Earthly location is Italy. Never knew that. Um, Mythological animal, sparrow, hawk. Plant, gardenia. Qualities: will, communication, creativity, truthfulness, and integrity. Life issues: to harness your will to express your highest truth, to live with creativity. Physical activities: Alexander technique, I don't know what that is. Yoga, osteopathic alignment of the spine, craniosacral therapy, expressive theater and dance, qigong, and or qi is it qigong? I don't know. QI, y'all know what it is, and Tai Chi. Some of the spiritual activities that help you unblock your throat chakra: chanting, silent retreats. I highly recommend, if you don't go to an actual silent retreat, to just literally have a silent retreat at home. I've only done a 24-hour one, but I think I want to go for longer in the future. When you shut off all devices, no devices, do not disturb, no talking. Try to do it for at least 24 hours. I know somebody that went on a silent retreat at an actual place, and I think they were doing I don't know if it was 4 days, 5 days, or a week, but they couldn't even journal during their silent retreat. I think that's a little extreme. Because can I at least write my thoughts down? I don't know. Fasting, yoga, prayer, meditation, singing, keeping a journal, public speaking, and bearing witness. The positive archetype is the communicator. The negative archetype is the silent child. The angelic presence is the archangel Gabriel, who brings the word of God. So let me just give y'all some throat chakra affirmations. I live in my truth. I communicate my truth. I am the truth. Communicating is vital to my well-being. I love to share my experiences and tell my truth. I listen to the truth of others. I share my truth honestly. My willpower is aligned with my spiritual purpose in life. I develop will each time I meet a life challenge. I express my truth as creatively as possible. I communicate with those who open their hearts to me. I learn to listen to myself and trust my inner voice. I develop my integrity each time I tell my truth, or each time I tell the truth. My integrity is my word, and my word is my truth. My communication comes directly from my deep center. I express my love and goodness each time I speak. My spirit rests in peace and silence. I trust the whispers of angels' voices as I sit in silence. So, those are some affirmations you can speak if you feel like your throat chakra is blocked. And some of the questions you can ask yourself in your journal: how willingly do you share your truth with others? Do you say what you feel? Do you do what you say you are going to do? Do you honor your personal truth? How strong is your will? Where do you channel your creative energy? Those are just some journaling prompts. Let me speed up because we've been on for an hour and 8 minutes. So, control issues are some trauma responses as well. Feeling the need to dictate everything out of fear of instability. So, again, that root chakra governs stability, which is so important for us. So, when you feel off your square, when you have self doubt, when you have those just uncertainties, sometimes the trauma response is to control everything. And fear of instability, anxiety, all of those things can create control issues. I never thought, I'm always in the hot seat. I got a story or a confession, but I never thought I was controlling. But I am, not in the way of like I used to be early on in my teens and early 20s. I used to be controlling, like, let me see your phone. Let me see, let me get your passwords, where you going, who you around, all that type of stuff. Who's your friends? I'm not that type of controlling person. Now the controlling part that I have to work on are things that are clearly out of my control, like the weather. I can't control the weather. So sometimes that creates anxiety within me when the weather is severe. When I'm a passenger, when someone else is driving and they're not driving the way I would want them to, those control issues start coming out, like, okay, watch that, be careful, stop, slow down. So I just prefer to just drive, or I got to really trust the person's driving. So those are some of the issues that I deal with. if y'all want to share what y'all deal with when it comes to that. But it's definitely a fear of instability, because if I feel like I'm not safe or stable, then of course the trauma response is to control. So of course insecurity and self-doubt, which comes from questioning one's worth in relationships. So those have to come with developing your own sense of self-worth, developing your own form of validating yourself, trusting your intuition when it comes to self-doubt, trusting your abilities, having faith. um you got to know your worth, and that's why I always suggest to do your work to know your worth. Fear of vulnerability, which is what Gabrielle Union credited her wanting to go 50-50 in her relationship to. Difficulty opening up and trusting others fully. So her just allowing her $170 million man to pay their mortgage was a testament of her being able to literally fall back and trust that he's going to catch her, when he had her the whole time. It wasn't his thing. He said, well, I just went 50-50 because I thought that that made you more comfortable. And she's like, it did, but now I'm releasing it. So now she's allowing herself to feel vulnerable. And like she said, it's made their relationship better as husband and wife, because now he can see clearly that she does trust him fully. And like she said, even though she had this 50-50 mindset, sometimes she can only give 10% and she needs him to give 90, and sometimes she doesn't have anything to give. And I don't think she's talking financially, but even if she is, and she needs him to just handle it. And maybe there's times where she's giving 80, 90, 99%, 100, and he needs the relief in whatever area of their relationship. So I think that that was nice for her to share, because it definitely went viral when she said she was going 50-50. And I don't know if she felt bullied into reflecting on why she felt so strongly about that. Maybe the comments did make her look back at her life, and why she didn't trust her man to take care of the. I ain't gonna say didn't trust her man, but why she didn't want to allow him to have that responsibility to handle the mortgage. And so she did some self-reflecting or some type of healing to evolve into um, understanding that it was a fear of being vulnerable. So I'm glad that she's able to lean into that, and that it has brought some closeness, even more closeness, intimacy, trust, and understanding into her relationship. So just like any other thing that we go through when it comes to traumas, uh, trauma responses, whatever, identify where the behaviors come from, where they coming from, where do they stem from, and once you find the root issue, then you can start to unpack that. And that is why you have your life coach, Osha Cerese, to help you with that. So go ahead and visit oshacerese.com. That is the type of things that I want to help support you. As you see, I share what I've gone through. Either I'm not here to be a judge, I'm not here to be on a pedestal, I'm not here to tell you anything that I haven't tried myself that has worked for me. And we are all work in progress. We are all healing. But I have some tools and some exercises and some story times and some um, what else can I call it? I can be vulnerable with you on this journey, and I'm willing to support you and be the person that I wish that I had on my journey, on my beginning stages of my healing journey, because we all need support. And as my business coach says, we all need coaches as well. Everybody that is successful in whatever avenue that they are in, whether that's life, business, career, or love, can benefit from a coach. So that is what I'm here to do. And if you need support, if any of those trauma responses resonated with you, or if there's even more that you can think of that you haven't addressed or you don't really realize where they're coming from, I would suggest you book a call, oshacerese.com. You can book your call and I can support you on figuring out which direction we need to go in. It could be one-on-one calls, or maybe you just need one or two sessions to really unpack something to get through with it. Or you may want to enroll in a 6-week course. One single step at a time is my healing course that is guided. It is for unpacking all of the things from your childhood, your past relationships, doing your shadow work, learning who you are, determining what actual tools and exercises resonate with you, getting into who not only who you are, but what do you want? How do you like it done? What drives you? What moves you? Having something to talk about when you start dating, because sometimes when you don't know who you are or what you like, you can't carry a conversation because you ain't got nothing to talk about. What are you going to talk about if you don't know who you are, what you want? So figuring that out, and then coming up with a plan of action that I will help support you with, going forward. So that is one single step at a time. Again, it's a 6-week guided course or workshop, and it comes with coaching. So you have weekly coaching with that, and you get the How to Beat Single journal, guided journal that comes along with that. If you feel like you just want to do the work on your own self pace, this How to Beat Single journal is literally $20, and it will support you on a lot of the work that we do in the program. You just don't have the coaching or the guided exercises going along with it. If you want to do some work and start on your journey yourself, just grab a How to Beat Single journal at oshacerese.com. If you want to unpack some of the things like giving and receiving love, maybe you have a blockage there, like I said. Maybe it's like you're having challenges communicating how you feel, receiving compliments, allowing somebody to take care of you. It may be something that you need to explore a little further, but you're not ready to do a 6-week program. I have a program that is called 5 Ways in 5 Days. It helps you to utilize your love languages in your daily acts of self love and self care, but also to uncover those blockages when it comes to giving and receiving love. It can be done in as little as 5 days or up to 60 days. So that is an option as well. And for the lovers, for the intentional daters, the hopeful romantics, anyone looking to find love in 2025, trust me, y'all, I got some amazing events coming up soon, opportunities, and I will put my matchmaker hat on if you fill out this form and I see someone that matches your request. So the Intentional Love Collective is a growing community and database. You put in your information, it allows me to curate events with people that align with your values, your interests, and your preferences. So it's free to join. All you got to do is fill out the form. And when I have upcoming events, I will hand select you to come to them with people that you will walk in and be like, I literally manifested you because everything that I wrote in this form, you got it. So if you are a hopeful romantic or an intentional dater looking for love in 2025, make sure you add yourself to the Intentional Love Collective. If you're married or in a relationship and you listening to this, send the Intentional Love Collective link to a single friend. It is in the link in my bio. It's going to be on my website soon, but right now just click the link in my bio. It's there. And make sure you subscribe to the channel, y'all. Again, we're growing. I'm so excited about this show. I appreciate everybody that's been joining and tuning in. If you're watching the playback, hey, thank you for tuning in. And I appreciate y'all. We on episode 31 today. So let me give you a few journaling prompts. I gave y'all some throat chakra journaling prompts as a bonus. But related to the topic of today, have you ever had an ex reach out to you during a retrograde or whenever? And how did it make you feel? And when I talk about an ex, I mean specifically either an ex that did you wrong or an ex that is in a relationship reaching out to you talking about it could have been you or it should have been you or I wish it was you. How did that make you feel and how did you handle it? What trauma responses show up in your relationships or what have shown up in your relationships that maybe you haven't unpacked yet? What trauma responses show up in your relationships? And relationships don't have to be romantic, it could be friendship. Do you struggle with hyper independence or vulnerability? And I will leave it at that. So I appreciate y'all. Again, thank you for tuning in, for joining. Please make sure you subscribe and hit that notification button because this is a pop-up show. We will be here every day of the week, but you don't know what time, so you got to make sure you get the notifications. I hope you all are having an amazing evening. Get you some good sleep. Have a great day tomorrow. And we will be back tomorrow. So I'll see you then. Have a good night.